Graham Hunter is with us. Graham, good morning to you. How are you?
Fellas, good, thanks.
When Casemiro signed for Manchester United, you said, this is a decision that I think is going to cost Real Madrid the title. And here we are 6 months in, and we can definitely wheel out the red carpet for Barcelona. That the Liga title race is done, right? Toast.
No. Anybody who's lived and breathed Real Madrid, in my case, 20 years in this country, 21 years in this country, and for a long time prior to that, knows that Madrid are capable of cutting back what is now an 8-point gap. Yeah, it's very different. It looks more lopsided than the title race you've just been discussing in England, which is fascinating, and it's tight, and as Shane said, it's definitely not over. Although I'm feeling just a smidgen of smugness, because with my sponsors 2 weeks ago, I said, listen, I still think City will win this title. I still do today. If it definitely wasn't over because of the result in London last night. But Barcelona are playing in a manner which is really, really feisty. It's completely different from not just the execution, but even the ideology of how Xavi, the team Xavi played in, wanted to behave, either in their first treble year with Guardiola or subsequently under Luis Enrique, when the game was more vertical, was quicker. They had two forwards up front, Suarez, Neymar, Messi. And the idea was get the ball to them quickly. Compared to how Pepe played. But this team, again, is very, very different indeed. Lots and lots of 1-0s. There's absolutely nothing that suggests that Barcelona are invulnerable between now and the end of the season. Not even the only 7 goals conceded so far. And Real Madrid have been patchy, and they have, for as much as Camavinga at Pivote last night is a special footballer, is a good athlete. He's very, very young. Chalmeni at Pivote is, again, extremely impressive physically, has got a good temperament, but neither of them are Casemiro. I don't know if you two or your viewers, listeners, now agree with me. My point was Casemiro is super special. There was absolutely no way Madrid were not going to notice him being absent. There was absolutely no way, this again was my point with you, that Modric and Kroos, aged 33 and 38, weren't going to suffer for the lack of Casemiro, and they have. So I think the impact has been significant. Title's not over yet. I simply don't believe that Real Madrid are incapable of cutting the gap, and therefore I believe there's a lot of excitement to come between now and June, and a lot of finger pointing because this is Spain.
Well, great. I'm looking forward to it. I think the other thing that, being obviously mildly facetious saying it was over, that Real Madrid have been distracted by the fact that there was a World Club Championship to take care of, and we expect the European champions to win the World Club Cup. So that brings added pressure where you actually just have to go and do it.
I think for anybody who didn't watch it, they went to Morocco. They subsequently beat Al Hilal in the final. They qualified for the final very easily. In the final, it was 5-3. Al Hilal had a playing style which was wandering around and attempting to play clever football at low pace. That gave ball players in Madrid's team tons of time to pick up Vinicius and Benzema and Valverde. They could have scored another 5 if they wanted to, but they conceded 3. World champions. The buzz I got, and I was on television, at La Liga television before last night, in the build-up to Real Madrid beating Elche 4-0, and I said, listen, the buzz from Morocco is that they love being in the sunshine. It wasn't roasting hot, but it was better than winter in Madrid. It was like a mini training camp. They found the games easy, and they became world champions. I know, you didn't say it, Ger, but I know that in Britain and Ireland growing up, this idea about becoming World Club champions has never been given a huge value. But I always felt a little bit differently, and I beg you to listen to the idea that a player like Benzema or Vinicius or Modric or Asensio or Ceballos puts a medal around the neck which says you're world champion. You get a badge on your shirt from now for a year that says you're champion of the world as a club. For a guy like Benzema, who felt treated like flotsam and jetsam by Deschamps and the French Federation in Qatar and didn't go back when he was fit to play in the World Cup final. For a guy like Camavinga, who did play in the World Cup final and lost it, the fact you can say I'm a world champion, if viewers want to say, I don't value it that much, that's fine. It's personal opinion. I can assure you that the players absolutely do value it above the Champions League. Same as talking about dynasty teams. No. but you're world champion. You lift a trophy. It really counted, and therefore they've come back. It's been like an injection of vitamin D. It's been really important to them. They enjoyed being away from the furore that surrounded Mallorca fouling them 29 times, Vinicius being abused racially game after game. All that fuss. They were put it on a shelf, go off to Morocco, beat 2 teams easily, come back with a trophy and a medal, and say, yeah, okay, this is a boost towards cutting back the lead on Barcelona, winning the cup. It's where it's a Clásico semi-final. I said it last night, I say it again. They should be playing, maybe I'm slow, maybe people don't remember the theme to Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
But that double bass, creeping menace of somebody swimming, and there's something that it's coming. Play the Jaws theme over Real Madrid's games for the rest of the season, because that's what it needs.
That's given the Liverpool fans this morning just a shiver down their spine. Going, I thought all was well in the world again, and then Graham starts to wheel out the Jaws. Oh, God, great,
terrifying.
One distraction that isn't going away, and I don't know if it's just because it gets asked in a press conference and then it becomes news, is the Brazil job and Carlo Ancelotti, and he's like, typical phlegmatic Carlo. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. It's not, it's not like no way. It's like, oh, could be interesting. Could be interesting. What's going on?
Yeah, they want him. I don't think there's any question about that at all. They tried very hard for Pep Guardiola. Just around the time that Tite was being removed, they thought they had Guardiola. It didn't work out, but they genuinely thought they had. Ronaldo Nazario was hopping from foot to foot in the days after Tite left, saying, we've got a coach who's coming, who's football I love, and then it didn't happen. You can wholly understand that if they're going foreign for what I think is the first time, Carlo Ancelotti's ability to handle important players brilliantly is one of the things that you need if you're a Brazil coach. You usually need a Brazilian passport, I think. I think there's a difficulty. The fact that some of them, were he to take over, are players that he knows and who love and respect him, could make a difference. He has a contract. One of the things he keeps saying is, I have a contract till 2024. I want to see it out. The difference is Brazil are waiting. It's, what would you two say? Is it the plum job in international football? Maybe. Is it one where if you take over and you value your own qualities as a communicator, a manager, and a coach, you think you could win the Copa America, take it back off Messi's Argentina, go to the States and Canada and Mexico and win the World Cup? I think if you're a self-respecting coach, you think yes. I think it's a plum job with no mind pressure or difficulties. It's a plum job. Why is it not being filled? I don't think he's alone on the list. I think Luis Enrique is a candidate. I'm not well enough versed to say about Brazilian club football. There's a muster point there. But the CBF don't think there is a muster point. If you're saying, Ger, which you hinted at, that you think it might take Ancelotti's eye off the ball, I'd like to respond with a certain firmness and say no. But at Madrid, although he's got a contract until the end of next season, if, for example, your proposition is right that La Liga is over and Real Madrid don't close an 8-point gap and lose it by a big margin, fail to defend it and go out to Liverpool, I don't think Ancelotti's contract will be fulfilled. So is that why the CBF are jockeying? Are they waiting to see whether the Barcelona do them a favour? Don't know. And you talked about distractions. There's something that's more than a distraction, because this morning's Madrid papers have the front page, and in Marca's case, 6 or 7 pages dedicated to the revelation from the tax authorities that they have, by investigation, uncovered a firm which is run by an ex-referee and his son, who've been paid about 1.5 million euros during 2016, 17, and 18 to give Barcelona advice on referees. And that's all fine, because Madrid in 2009 publicly hired an ex-referee, Miguel Davila, and said he's there to make sure the players know the law and to have good relationships with the referees. And they put him on the staff. They put him in a very high position there, but he was an ex-referee. The really big difficulty here is that Negreira, the man whose company this is, that they've been uncovered as having paid 1.5 million euros to, was a vice president of the committee of referees. The committee of referees is saying, well, he had absolutely no voice in the appointment of referees, and his position was ceremonial. Oh, gee whiz. Then what's being asked, I think, by those journalists who are not rabid, because the two Catalan papers guys gave this about 300 words each. The two Madrid papers splashed it front page. The allegations at the moment is that these payments were discovered during an investigation and hadn't been declared for tax. So I can't prove that. I can report the allegations, and therefore it looks like an overripe barrel of fish. It stinks.
The crazy thing, Graham, when you say that is, and for football fans generally, I think this is the worrying thing. That's a huge story, and yet none of us are shocked. The same with the Qataris coming in to potentially buy Manchester United, and the story I wanted to ask you about as well, the Manchester City financial allegations. I mean, there's so many dark clouds over football at the moment that these stories almost just water off a duck's back for football fans.
Yeah, Shane, even how you've said it is chilling. I would add that I don't believe that football fans or journalists believe that every body which is there to either assess, check, investigate or punish is necessarily powerful enough or willful enough to make sure that the laws are absolutely adhered to. I don't believe it's this. I like the way you've drawn a comparison, because I think that it's that expression about, when you're in a certain position, you don't need simply to be honest. You need to be seen to be honest. It needs to be patently clear, rather than saying, "Don't worry, everything's fine, we're doing it." It needs to be patently clear, and in certain instances, it's not patently clear. And in the case of City, you didn't bend away from this, but I think in every case, decent reporters must presume innocent until proven guilty. However, now, and I speak for myself, I have not dedicated the last 20 years to investigative reporting of a financial kind, and there are some who, in our trade, who have become exceptional. Difficult and dangerous times filled with suspicion do sometimes breed exceptional men and women who dedicate themselves to unraveling these things. I would say that you put your voices in the man or woman of the people who's a football fan or who's passionate about football and wants to believe. It's become so complex, particularly in the case of City, so complex. I would challenge many people to actually properly understand it and be able to follow with certainty the reporting of how the breaches are, where the money that comes into Manchester City does or doesn't come from, whether they have or haven't breached FFP. There'll finally be a report. It'll be handled by experts. But I go back to your point about whether there is currently a total belief that there is the ability and then the will to prosecute anybody of a massive club or a massive football governing body that has committed some sort of infraction. Everybody. Brian Glanville, the Sunday Times journalist, made his fame in the 60s by being an English-based journalist who investigated and proved corruption in Italian football in the 60s. Prior to that, I wouldn't have knowledge. But back in the decade when I was born, there was corruption, there was malpractice, and there were determined attempts by journalists to unravel it. From that day until this, Shane, I don't think there's any one of us who thinks that malpractice and cheating went away. What I would contend, my opinion, you asked me, is one, I think it's become increasingly difficult to understand it and prove it. And I think there is a broad feeling that there may not be either the will or the power from governing bodies to say, we will take you on. Once we've proven it, we will impose all the sanctions within our power. And I think that's almost as insidious as the point you made.
Yeah, no, it totally is, because it frames the terms of reference for everybody, and then sure, look, we know what happens when opportunity presents itself. I want to come away from that for a moment, because, you know, notwithstanding all of that backdrop, the football this evening at Camp Nou, 5:45 our time. It's Barcelona against Manchester United. It's a storied fixture. I see the younger Cruyff in all the papers today, talking about his time at both clubs and how going to Manchester United was a release and a relief for him. So, like, I'm really looking forward to this, particularly because Ten Hag has brought something to Manchester United which is like kind of joyous. A little bit of structure has released the joy from so many of his players. And if there's a spikiness tonight to Barcelona, then this is actually setting up quite nicely.
So it's just a smash and tie, and it's typical of football that it can shoot itself in the foot, and that Manchester United against Barcelona is the last thing we talk about, because while it's not the Champions League, it's a Champions League worthy tie. Both sides are extremely interesting. Both sides are on the up. United's playing style is now recognisable under Ten Hag to what many United fans would want them to be playing, like, you know, incomplete yet, missing a really important player in Eriksen. McTominay might have started. Barcelona's style is not so recognisable. It's extremely vertical. They're kicking the ball long domestically for 5'8" Gavi to challenge aerially for the ball against Raul Albiol or against Militao. It's phenomenal. Yet this 5'8", 19-year-old is in the top 10 midfielders for winning aerial challenges in La Liga. And in La Liga would have 120, 130 regular midfielders across all the teams each week. And little 19-year-old 5'8" Gavi is in it. So if Barcelona, and you both remember, Shane, I didn't know you at the time, but I know you were following football. Joe, I was talking to you when Guardiola's side was not only conquering Europe, but wooing the world, seducing the world in its football. If a goalkeeper, Victor Valdez, had kicked the ball from a place kick long, he'd have been sacked. Ter Stegen is now, against domestic rivals, lumping the ball long for Barcelona to compete for, and then pounce on in a brilliant way to win second or third balls in the midfield. It's genuine, and it's working. Now, against Manchester United, one of the fascinating points for me tactically is, after they beat Villarreal in the Madrigal on the weekend 1-0, clinging on a little bit, Xavi said to our reporter in English, yeah, listen, we're at the best moment since I took over, which was November the previous year. We're almost perfect in defence and intensity and pressing, which is true. Now we have to change our mindset. So wait. So he said, we're perfect in this, we're in the best moment, we have to change our mindset for United in the Europa League. He's not explained yet what he meant by that, but I take it that it probably means that their tactics should be to try and use the ball a little bit more in the old Xavi style, which is not how he's coaching his team at the moment. And it's working. I'm not being critical. It's remarkable to watch. Ten Hag is giving United a little bit what they used to have. Ten Hag is giving United what they bought him from Ajax to bring. It all fits. It dovetails. It seems natural. Xavi is doing something really quite remarkable at the moment. And we've got a tie, like you said, of all the echoes of United in '99 at the Camp Nou without Barcelona, but having come through that group that had Barcelona and Xavi's debut at Old Trafford in the 3-3 and then starting in the 3-3 at Camp Nou, there's echoes of that. There's echoes of 2009, 2011, the 4-0 that Barcelona imposed, Romario's Barcelona imposed Manchester. It's all there, but United could win both games. It's perfectly feasible. You know they could.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Graham, great stuff. Thanks a million for joining us. You've suitably whet the appetite. Cheers. Enjoy it.
Cheers, lad.
So Graham Hunter there giving us some thoughts ahead of that game tonight.